Jay Silverheels was born Harold J. Smith on May 26, 1912, on the Six Nations of the Grand River Reserve in Ontario, Canada, a place rooted in tradition, resilience, and warrior pride. A proud member of the Mohawk Nation, he grew up carrying generations of strength in his blood. Long before Hollywood lights ever found him, he was a phenomenon on the lacrosse field, moving with such speed and grace that crowds nicknamed him Silverheels. That name would follow him far beyond the reservation, into a world that rarely made room for men like him. In the 1930s, his athletic build and commanding presence caught the attention of film scouts, and he stepped into an industry that too often reduced Native men to shadows and stereotypes. But Jay refused to be a shadow. Even in small roles, he carried himself with authenticity and quiet authority, determined to bring dignity to every character he touched. His early breakthrough came in Captain from Castile, but destiny arrived in 1949 when he was cast as Tonto in The Lone Ranger. What could have been a simple sidekick role became something far more powerful in his hands. Jay infused Tonto with loyalty, intelligence, and humanity, transforming him into a symbol of honor for millions watching across America. For many indigenous families, seeing him on national television was more than entertainment, it was validation. Yet fame carried a complicated weight. While audiences loved Tonto, Jay quietly wrestled with the limits of the role and the stereotypes that still clung to Native representation in Hollywood. Determined to create change, he co-founded the Indian Actors Workshop in the 1960s, mentoring and uplifting Native performers so they could tell their own stories with truth and pride. Off-screen, he remained deeply connected to his roots, often returning to Six Nations for grounding and strength. After an early marriage ended, he found lasting love with Mary Doma, who stood beside him through triumphs and trials alike. In the late 1970s, a series of strokes left him partially paralyzed, silencing the strong voice that had once commanded screens nationwide. Privately, he struggled with vulnerability, telling Mary, "A warrior doesn't show weakness." Beneath that pride was a quiet fear, not of death, but of being unseen. "They love Tonto," he confessed, "but they don't see Jay." When he passed away on March 5, 1980, at 67, the world mourned the legendary companion of the Lone Ranger. But those who knew him understood the deeper truth. He was far more than a character in a mask. He was a pioneer who challenged an industry, carried his culture with unwavering dignity, and opened doors for generations to come. Jay Silverheels didn't just act. He endured, he uplifted, and he stood as proof that true greatness is not found in applause, but in the courage to remain authentic in a world that tries to define you.